Well, we now bring you the story of Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, the woman who is poised to occupy the seat of the Second Lady if the recent declaration of the presidential outcome by the IEBC stays. Here's an exclusive interview by Fatia Noor, filed a week before the general election on August 9th.
Pastor Dr. Dorcas Rigathi is a name you might have heard of, but not really seen around.
I was born in Muranga, Dunyuchege, Kariara, location 16. And as a young person, I grew up there. And then we moved to a ghetto called Kiandutu. In that time, it was more thicker. Even now it is, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I grew up. Went to school in Mokumoini Primary School, there in Thika, and to secondary school I went to Alliance Girls High School. I went to my high school, St. Francis Girls, and went to, after that I went for my degree in Kenyatta University. From there, I went to work at a cooperative bank. I'm a professional banker. I worked there until 2006. Then I retired to become one of the directors of our company's family business. Mm-hmm. And now I'm retiring to become a full-time pastor.
Growing up, things were incredibly difficult for her family as she lost her father at a very young age.
That is one of the places that I sometimes don't want to speak about because the background was pretty obscure. And sometimes I thought maybe we'll never make it because my father died when I was young and my mother was left with 8 children. As a widow and a housewife, we suffered a lot. One, a widow with 8 children have nowhere to go. It's like you are ostracized. Everyone, even the family, they did not want her to go back there. So she went to her own family, now her own mother, and their brothers and sisters with 4 sons. They even imagined that when we stayed there, we would be claiming inheritance from our grandmother. And so they did not even want us to stay in her house. We were made to stay in a chicken pen outside my grandmother's. And we stayed here for a very long time. And we grew up with very many challenges. Working in farms, we were maids, but all in all, I can tell you God has been with us and He saw us through. Because even with all those challenges, my mom was able to pull through and to do the businesses. She would trade with beans, with maize and all that. And as we'd work in coffee farms, we would sell water, we will, with jerry cans and all that. And we would be able to complement what he was doing, and we would go to school. And I look back and I see where we are. I can only thank God because I do not believe that the kind of challenges that we went through, I'll be where I am today.
Despite the tough times, she was determined to go to university to better her life. She dreamt of becoming a lawyer, but her only option at the time was to pursue a degree in education at Kenyatta University.
I did history, CRE, and education, and after that, I just went straight to the bank. It was very enjoyable. I love working with the people. And the moment I joined in 1990, I was taken to a department for agriculture. So I was dealing with coffee, I was dealing with tea, and we were developing structure, how the farmers would be able to enjoy facilities without collateral. Because they're mainly the backbone of this country, it's agriculture.
To many, she is known as the wife of Kenya Kwanza's deputy presidential candidate Rigathi Gachagua. But how did the two meet?
That day I I didn't feel, I was not from Nyeri. I come from Ranga, as I've told you, but a girlfriend of mine came from there, and she asked me to join them as they were going for that trip to Cabernet Gardens. And myself, I was feeling down that day. I was actually asleep. She came and woke me up. I was contemplating suicide that time. When they told me there was a trip to go to Cabernet Gardens, I could just imagine that they had just given me the solution, because I knew when you go before the president, there is a security, and you are not supposed to go across or try to do anything like that. So in my mind, that is what came to my mind, a solution for a good suicide mission. So we went there, and I waited. When the president stood, I just stood and ran across in line with him, and I expected them to shoot me. I don't know how it happened, and I think it's God's way of doing things. He stood up and started coming towards me when he saw me. So I went and bumped onto him, and I was asking myself, hey, is this how people die? And from there, of course, that is how actually I met with my husband, because he was there. He was the one who was leading the delegation. And the following day, when we went to State House, I also phoned him with his parents and my parents, because the president wanted to know further about this thing, about my mother and everything. And that's how we met. I have beautiful, handsome young men. One is 31 years, Kevin Gachagua. His work is a computer software engineer working with a bank. And the other one is 30 years. He's a medical doctor. And bringing them up was lovely. My husband, in spite of being an administrator and being there, you should have seen him. You sit there and they'll carry, they'll say, oh, daddy's go down. And you see, as an administrator with all these people, the APs and what, he comes with his uniform and he's told go down. He goes down, and in the evening he would stay with the boys, and I'll be cooking in the kitchen, and it has been a very good family life. You must also take care of your family.
As a homemaker, she enjoys taking care of her family, and that entails cooking for them.
You must always know your first business is the family.
Yes. And
a foundation of a good family is also being able to, interact with them. And in the morning, as a professional, you go very early, and then you come very late, and then you have to stay with the maid you want. And sometimes there must be a place where you yourself are able to meet and make sure you're talking with them.
Yeah.
That's how you create friendship with your children.
Apart from cooking for her family, she says every wife needs to do something special for the husband. And for her, ironing is the secret.
Every wife must have something special that you do for your husband. Mm-hmm. It can be done by other people, but it is special to him. For me, for the last 35 years I've been married, I iron for my husband.
Yeah.
When he goes out there, if the shirt is creased or you have opposite socks, green and yellow, because I don't know about these men, but they have a thing with the socks. If you don't look after it, even a shirt, you don't iron it, you go with it.
They'll just go with it, yes.
And you see, the public do not want to know whether I'm a professional or I'm a pastor. They want to see a husband that is taken care of.
Try to evade doing what is not right.
Did you expect him to be named the running mate of Deputy President William Ruto?
I kind of had a hunch he will be the running mate. Because if you look back and when things were very tough, he was speaking for this man. And we have come from very far, because I knew the deputy president way before even during Moi time. And during, my husband has been the PA for the President Kenyatta. And they were together working with him. So they go back, their history go back to 20 years. They know each other. They've worked closely in all those governments.
Potentially, you could be the second lady of Kenya. What should we expect from you?
I love to do things to do with the boy child now. I've seen how the boy child life has really changed. That I go out there in the shopping centers, you find they are drunk, find other street children and all that. There is nothing like street children. That is one of the things I would like to address. The boy child and the girl child. They must always be brought together, and we should not have emphasis on this or the other. They should grow together, and they should be taken care together. And that is why we must emphasize on employment, education, and everything, so that there are equal chances for both the girl and the boy. The other one is about the widow and the orphan. Those ones I have gone through in my childhood. That was the greatest challenge that I have faced. And that is where I would like to see empowered widows that are able to do their own small businesses to take care of their children.
Pastor Dorcas says the Kenya Kwanza team, led by the Deputy President William Ruto and her husband Rigathi Gachagua, are hoping to change and transform the country for the better if elected. Fatia Mohammed Noor, KTN News.
Well, that interesting story of Bishop Dorcas Rigathi leads us to a short commercial break right here on Checkpoint. We'll be back with much more information.